You have seen that surveying is a method of showing the relative positions of objects on the ground. Do you know, by showing the relative positions by means of offsets and oblique lines, you can locate ground features? Let's find out how we can locate ground features by going through this module. Locating ground features. Welcome. After completing this module, you will be able to identify the types of offsets, state the use of different survey lines and running perpendicular lines to a survey line from a point, and locate the ground features using the chains and offsets. An offset is basically a distance measured from a survey line to a certain point or object located on one side of the line. Offsets are taken to know the distance between a survey line and a point or an object. For example, on this plan, let us take a look at how we can know the distance from the baseline to each of the points A and B. As there are no obstacles between the baseline and A, you simply need to run a line from the baseline to the point A, so that it is perpendicular to the baseline. This perpendicular line is called the perpendicular offset. But what about an offset to connect B with the baseline? As you can see, there are obstacles between the baseline and B, making it difficult for a perpendicular offset to be taken between the baseline and B. So, you must take an offset from the baseline at a point which is closest to B, although not perpendicular to it. Such an offset is called oblique offset. So, remember, the two types of offsets are perpendicular offset and oblique offset. The perpendicular offset is taken when there are no obstacles in between from the baseline, and the oblique offset is taken where there are obstacles in between. When taking offsets, the survey lines we must mark on the ground are the baseline and the check lines, or the lines running to the offsets. As the baseline runs across the central region of the area, identify and mark it correctly on the ground so that you can run the check lines or the offsets from it. Once you have taken the perpendicular offset and measured it with a tape, you can show it on the survey plan as a check line. In order to take an oblique offset from the baseline, identify the point on the baseline that is the closest to the oblique offset point, without any obstacles in between. Once you have measured the oblique offset, you can show it on the survey plan as a check line. So, remember, the baseline and the check lines are the important survey lines while taking offsets. You can use the cross staff to take the perpendicular offset and the chain to take the oblique offset. We've had a look at the types of offsets. Now, let us find out how to locate ground features using the chain or tape and offsets. Suppose you have the plan of an area and have to locate a feature on the ground marked by it, such as this pit. By running offsets at the opposite ends of the pit, points A and B, you can locate the pit on the ground and check whether its position is correctly shown on the map. The perpendicular offset to A can be taken at A by setting a cross staff at the baseline directly opposite it, and then running a chain or tape to it. And an oblique offset can be taken at B by running a chain or tape from B to the point on the baseline nearest to it. By comparing the lengths of these offsets with those on the plan, we can check whether the position of the pond is correctly shown on the plan. So, remember, by running offsets on the ground with the help of cross staff and chain or tape, you can locate ground features and check their position on plans. In this module, you have learnt how to identify the types of offsets, the use of different survey lines, and running perpendicular lines to a survey line from a point, and to locate ground features using the chain and offsets. The two types of offsets are perpendicular offsets and oblique offsets. The cross staff is used for running perpendicular offset. The chain is used for running oblique offset. When taking offsets, the survey lines we must mark on the ground are the baseline and the check lines. We can use the cross staff and the chain to run offsets so that we can locate ground features.